Hello and welcome. How are you doing today, Tasha?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm not doing too bad. Hanging in there. It is definitely Friday, so looking forward to the weekend. Do you have any
Sweet.
exciting plans for this weekend?
For this weekend, I'm going to Barnes& and Noble to get some books that I've been really excited about, and I might go to a cherry festival, which
Oh,
sounds fun.
yeah. I think someone was telling me about that was going around in
Yeah,
the Boise area.
yeah, yeah. What about you?
I am going to clean.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's also a big thing that I'm going to be doing this weekend too.
I have some things that have been neglected in my pursuit of running my business that need to be handled.
Yeah,
So we're gonna work on that.
maintaining a
So
house is another full-time job.
I know, right? So today we're gonna do another Q&A session. We had some questions that were sent in that we want to address. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask on the live stream and have me answer or Natasha answer, um, we can you can go ahead and post those up in the chat and we'll get to those as soon as we're done. Tasha, you want to go ahead and ask our question for today?
Yep. So our question for today is, in your experience, what are some common challenges that automotive dealer groups face with their IT systems? How does Atmosoft address these challenges?
So when I there's two kind of I wouldn't say there's two competing things in or two competing stacks kind of in the automotive space, but there is kind of two distinct areas that I'm aware of. Number one would be on the dealer management system side, or in the large dealer groups will oftentimes have a lot of custom application work that they've done. So, and then on the other side of it, where we've spent a lot of time is on basically on the extended warranty integration with dealer groups and various dealer vendors. So on the internal tools and kind of processes around the some of the larger automotive groups that I've had the pleasure of getting some exposure to. But what I see there mostly is um, kind of to be careful here because again we always talk about legacy systems and
Mhm.
so I don't want to say anything to make anyone think that that legacy systems are bad because again if we have the hello, how are you guys, or hi Tom, sorry about that, it's kind of covered up by my icon.
Okay.
Um so uh um we when you look at basically so there's several ways that the dealerships and sales work. So let's talk about. I'm going to back up just a second
Yeah, you're good.
and kind of go off on a little bit of a rant, or not a rant, but kind of educate everybody about the space from my experience. So you have the concept of a dealership. So that's an individual dealer who maybe is down the block, Bob's used cars
Mhm.
or something like that. You go down there. That's going to be a dealership. That's going to be an individual dealer with individual inventories. You can kind of think of it as its own little company, right? And then you have the concept of a dealer group. So, and I'm not releasing any trade secrets by saying this, but an example of a dealer group would one of the largest ones in the country would be a company called AutoNation. AutoNation has dealerships across the country. They're pretty much everywhere, and they're what is called a dealer group. And the way a dealer group works is you could think of it as a parent company that has a bunch of individual dealerships inside of it. And so you have the complexities of all these individual dealerships rolling back up to corporate, and there may be differing ways that they work internally, that they do their reporting, but they're kind of all under the, again for the example, the kind of the AutoNation umbrella.
Yep.
And so that's what a dealer group is. There's other dealer groups like local to my area. There's a dealer group called Ken Garf. Larry Miller is big. I think Larry Miller is in Idaho. I think they're in some other areas too. But
Yeah.
but Larry Miller is kind of a big dealer group in Utah.
Mhm.
Ken Garf, another big major competitor to AutoNation, would be, or I'm not sure if they're all competitors. So would be another large company would be called Sonic. So internally, what I've seen from my experience is you get into these organizations and the technical stack is from the outside, it's relatively old. So it's they've done a lot of work, the systems are working, and they're maybe doing what they need to do, but they
Mhm.
don't have there's no new technology going. So what I would say, like, just an immediate, from that perspective, where we haven't worked, or we have done some work internally for dealer groups, but we haven't worked particularly in some of the larger dealer groups. So what I would say about them internally is their software is older, and so that means that I as a guesstimate, I could probably say that they're not taking advantage of newer technology trends as
Mhm.
far as like processing and maybe batching. Maybe I would expect to see behind the scenes that this technology is accompanied by processes behind the scenes that are similar to the types of processes that we would have done back when that technology was kind of first introduced. So I would say, firstly, on that side, I think a look at the internals and how your internal applications are supporting your organization as a whole, and evaluating them from a technical stack, and make sure that those internal applications are meeting the needs of the organization, right? So everything's gonna have some problems. Legacy systems get old. They may not have been taken care of correctly. They may not be running fast. You may be spending more time fighting bugs, and then that kind of thing. So as far as dealer groups go, the first thing I would do if I was to come into, let's create a new dealer group. We have a dealer group named Bill's Used Cars,
Okay.
and Bill's Used Cars wanted me to come in and kind of take a look and see if there was anywhere where we can make some improvements, or speed up, or we want to do this feature, or we're trying to figure out how we can move part of our organization into the cloud. And so the first thing I would do is evaluate their technical stack, and then kind of their personnel, and then we would start making some smart choices to start moving us in the direction of adopting and taking advantage of these newer technologies, and eliminating dual entry, eliminating extra processing that maybe we won't need to do, or let's just say we're doing nightly batch files that we're FTPing between businesses, and then we're reading in those FTP files, and then we're processing the FTP files, and that process may take a long time. So maybe we look at setting up more of a real-time connection between the dealership and the organization. So that's where I'd go about that. The second part, so that's the first part. That's internal to a dealer group and the way that a dealer group functions, right? Every
Mhm.
organization needs to be able to collect and process data efficiently, and then get that data where it needs to be for key decision makers to make decisions that help guide the company towards their strategic objectives. The second part of that is the integration side, where AutoNation is going to sell a car, or
Mhm.
sorry, I don't want to be specific here. Bill's car dealership is going to sell a car, and um, then I want to work with Bill's dealership so that we can partner with it, and we want to add on items that get sold with the car when it's getting financed. So that would be like the extended warranty space. So
Mhm.
and what that is that's going to be integration of two systems. And one of the challenges here is there's a third party involved, where in most cases the DMSs do not connect directly up to the provider that is implementing the service.
Okay.
So they will connect up to a middleman. The middleman then connects up to me, and then I sell my extended warranty information products, or whatever else I'm selling. They're add-ons to the sale or add-on to the vehicle at the time of sale, and then I got to go through the middleman, and the middleman talks to my management system, and then comes back. Now, my question in general is, why, like, it seems that the middleman doesn't really need to be there. Like, I can see that, maybe there's 5,000 DMSs that I'm unaware of, and they handle all of them,
Yeah.
and that's why you're going to these third party systems. I can't imagine there would be key players in the dealer management system space. I can't imagine there would be at most maybe 50. And why the DMSs are coded in such a way that they require to kind of go through the third party. Even if you didn't have the man in the middle, um, the people that want to integrate with your system could easily just hook their services directly up, and you say, I need the data to look like this, and then you get kind of a better understanding of the DMS, and then you get kind of a tighter integration there. And but what happens is you go through this, it gets obscured because you have this third party involved that everyone is using. And I've never understood the I'm not saying there's not a business case here. There could very well be cases that I don't understand from a technical standpoint, but from a technical standpoint, it seems like it would be more efficient for the provider to go directly to the menu. And most menus are probably going to have XML that's going back to the menu that's going to be fairly similar. Like maybe in this one, the XML node is this, and over here it's this. But I would imagine that the XML that you're sending back and forth would be fairly close. So it would be pretty easy to add. They're usually called connectors onto your application that would allow any product or any DMS menuing system to just connect up to you, and then you guys could be exchanging data directly without going to the middleman. The problem with the middleman is not the concept. And if there's 5,000 DMSs out there and they're supporting all 5,000 of them, and you can just send your data to them, and then they'll transmit that message, or that they'll transmit to 5,000 different DMSs. That's a valid use case. Like that's a lot of work, right? And they've already spent the time and to do that, and that would make sense. But I can't imagine that there's 5,000 custom dealer management software solutions out there. It's a complex software, and there's not. I wouldn't imagine there's a ton of those kind of guys in the space. And so then let's just say maybe 80% of the dealerships use 5, maybe 10, right? So you're talking about 10 different ways you kind of have to tweak some XML and to get the output to show into the DMS system. It makes the cost associated with using that middleman relatively high.
Yeah.
I've heard numbers is to be honest with you, I don't know, I think it's somewhere around $1 they charge per warranty that just flows to their system. And the other thing is if you're say you're going to launch have a new product offering, and you want to get that product offering registered, you have to work with the middleman so that your information gets back over to the DMS. So that adds a level of complexity. Again, I'm not saying it's not needed. And I keep backing off because I'm trying to be careful here, because I really don't want to upset anybody. But from my perspective, if someone would like to come on and have a conversation and explain how the middleman model is actually beneficial, I would love to hear it. From my technical perspective, it doesn't make any sense. It just makes things harder. And then what I see from a support perspective is a lot of the times it's the end company's fault, and then you have to walk back up the chain. So let's, for example, say Bill's external warranty service company is selling warranties, and we connected with the third party. We're offering a new product. That new product is not showing up on the dealer management system. I am blind at the point where my document goes into the middleman. I can't see what they do to it. I can't see what it looks like on the DMS. I can't see any of that data. All I can see is the dealership calls me up and says, I can't sell your keyless entry product. Okay. All right. Then I go check my system. Oh, it looks like the XML I'm sending is good. All the nodes are correct. I'm sending the right data. I'm not sure what's going on. And then I have to walk up the chain. So then we have the cost of support, which grows exponentially. If I was communicating with the DMS directly and I was getting back messaging directly from the DMS, maybe it said invalid product offering, or maybe you used a dash in the name and you're not supposed to because that doesn't want to display on the menu. There's any number of reasons that a system could say like, nah, I don't like that. But we don't get that data. We just get the call from the dealership that says it's not working. And that's if they call you.
Yeah.
It could just be your keyless entry product never gets sold, and you're in your office sitting there going like, why aren't we selling any keyless entry?
Yeah.
You start calling your dealerships and they're all like, oh, we can't sell it. It doesn't work. Right. But that's if they call you, if they really want to sell it, which most people I've worked with, they're pretty on it,
Mhm.
especially, with the agents and the different providers, everyone's always working together and trying to make sure everything works good. But you run into this technical blind spot where you have an upset customer because they're not able to sell your product, and then you have this middleman where you basically have no control, and you don't have any visibility into what's going on. Like you
Yeah.
don't know, like that, or the dealer will call you up and they'll say, I'm getting error code C17345, and you're like, what is
Yeah.
C17435? I've never thrown that error. I don't send back that error message. All my error messages start with 1,000 or 10,000, or whatever it might be. And so there's this from a support perspective and from a technical perspective, that middleman manager concept, unless they're providing value that I'm unaware of, it doesn't make sense, because there's additional costs in having that slice there that doesn't seem to add value to it. um so this is a good question.
Yeah. I'm like, do you want me to ask it or do you want to finish?
Yeah, I'll get back to it. One sec. I just want to wrap this up
Yeah.
and just be clear. I am talking from my personal experience about challenges that I faced with automotive dealers and automotive groups. I'm not, meaning to come across like I'm trying to attack anybody or anything. The stack is working. People are making money. The cars are getting sold. Extended warranties are getting sold. Not attacking it, but I think there's areas for improvement, and I think people need to speak to those areas to draw awareness to it. Not
Yeah.
because I'm attacking or I'm trying to sound negative or I think I have all the answers. That's not where we're going. But I do, from a technical perspective, I can't figure out how that makes sense. I'm blind on the other side of it, and I don't have any idea, and I can't even test it, right? So I have to release a new product, and then I have to tell the company in the middle, the middleman. I have to tell the middleman, hey, middleman, I'm releasing a new product. Here's what it looks like. Here's the descriptions. Here's how long the offering is for, and there's a couple of different details there. And then they go out and do whatever they do, and then they tell me they're ready, and then I just turn it on. But I
Yeah.
have no way to know if that actually flows back to the dealer, and there's no way for me to test that. I can never see it full cycle. So when I get that call from the dealership, which not every time, but inevitably you'll get a call, and it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sending you the right stuff. I don't know what's going on. And then you got to get this other guy, the middleman team, involved, and then they got to go do their research. And then if you actually find a bug, it's they're not as responsive as I would be to an error.
Yeah.
What they'll tell you is, oh, we'll fix that and we'll release that in the next sprint, which is in 3 weeks, which
Yeah.
is
A lot of time where you're
not
losing money.
acceptable, right? It's really not. We coordinated with you. We told you the product release was going to come up. We gave you all the details about the product, and then you never pushed back on the date. And now you're telling me I got to tell the customer that they need to wait 3 weeks for this product offering that they ordered. And in my opinion, that's not acceptable. I'm not saying they need to jump through hoops for everyone who reports something to them, but sometimes it's like 3 weeks of development to because I named it with an extra letter. Like it's there. There's been some crazy stuff like that I've had to deal with, and it comes down to how robust is that middleman software? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it doesn't seem very robust. It seems like if you can't handle an extra character, that seems like not something that would be overly difficult to fix. But again, I'm also not wired up to 100,000 different dealer groups and doing a ton of I a
Also,
ton of large scale.
yeah, also we don't know anything that's going on in their side.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it also comes down to the fact that sometimes it's good to just have like a third party perspective, and in that case that's what you are, because you're
And I'm
not like,
open to being educated.
yeah,
Like
and you're
if someone from the middle layer, and I'm pretty sure if anyone from the middle layer watches this, you will know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to name any companies. because that's not fair.
Yep.
But if anyone from the middle layer wants to come down and talk to me how their side of things work and why they exist, I am happy to be educated in that space. But as far as I can tell, it adds a level of complexity. It adds a level of invisibility that I have absolutely no tracking over, and it just makes the whole process take longer and consume more time, and it costs money.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I see from my perspective. But let's go ahead and tackle this other question.
Okay, the next question is there a way to have the software contact you or the client in case it fails, starts throwing exceptions?
So if we were the great question, if we were directly in contact with the DMS 110%,
Mhm.
but because we're with the middleman may swallow a majority of the errors and not send me back anything. Because so the middleman is basically the DMS makes a. I'm sorry, I'm putting my hand up. DMS makes a
Mhm.
request. The request flows through to the middleman. The middleman does whatever work they do, and then they make a request to us. Then we
Mhm.
send them back the response. Then they do whatever work they do, and then it goes back to the DMS.
Mhm.
So the problem is here because I can't see what they're sending to the DMS that isn't working, and then the DMS can't see the results that I sent to them. And so if the DMS, if I get an error here, we're usually okay. That error can and will be reported back, and we handle those. But if the error comes, if it goes to here and the error happens here, they may swallow the error and not report to me at all, because basically at this point they've already dropped their connection with me. They've got the response done with working with my XML. Now we're going to do our work, and we're going to talk to the menu, and the menu's going to send them back an error. They this connection's been closed.
Yeah.
So that's basically over. I mean, they could send me an error message. That's a great question, because you could probably set up some type of hey error notification system and ask the middle provider if they could, which they would probably say no, if they could connect up to the error provider if they get back an error in one of our transactions, and then report that error back to us, so we can be proactive on taking action and resolving those issues. But as of right now, this connection's closed. They're done talking to me, and now they're doing their work, and then they're talking back and forth to the DMS. And then when the DMS makes a choice or a selection, or they want to activate a warranty, then they'll send the request to here, and then they open up a new request to me. So
Mhm.
so originally it's hey, what vehicles qualify for this product, right? That's the first question the system asks. I have a 2022 Honda Accord, and I want to know what extended product offerings do you have for that vehicle. Then they go out and ask us. Then we send them back a response, and that gets displayed in the menu. Could error there, right? And then it would prevent a sale. And then the next part is the customer said, "Yeah, give me the 6 year windshield."
Okay.
And so they give you the 6 year windshield, and then that's a new request, right? It was the same then. So we could track it that way. Like, okay, we just got a request. What products can we sell to what products can we sell for that particular vehicle? And we know the VIN at that time, and so we could match it to VIN. But the problem is you have some temporal windows where you could mismatch it. So let's just say someone went in and they were going to buy that 22 Honda, or the 2022, or I'll say 22 Honda, the 2022 Honda, and they were going to buy that. And then they were going through financing, and then maybe the dealership came back and said, we really need 7,000 down or 5,000 or whatever. And they're like, you know what? I probably should hold off on this in a couple of months. And they leave. And then someone immediately comes in after them, and they want to buy the 2022 Honda, right?
Yeah.
So you have that. And then resale is a whole nother thing, right? There's instances sometimes where a vehicle will get sold, and then a month and a half later a new warranty is being bought on that vehicle, which is fine, right? They sold the vehicle back, the customer did whatever the customer did, and now they're selling it, and the new owners want to get protection on the vehicle,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But you have a hard time, like VIN's not great for that match, and so but when the request comes in for the actual contract, we really don't have that tied to any of the what products were available to it. So our system does two things, or the system does two things mainly. It does what products can this vehicle qualify for, and then here's the contract that we want to get for that vehicle. And so, and those two requests could come in days apart. They could come in seconds apart, minutes, whatever. So it's kind of hard to kind of keep that first request and that finalizing the contract kind of tied together. So any errors that happen in between there are not going to be, most likely not going to be reported back to us. So and the middle piece, well, the middle layer, the middleman will oftentimes swallow the errors from the menu and try to do their own type of correction and error fixing, stuff like that, which is reasonable. Nothing wrong with that. But then you kind of lose out on seeing the whole picture on why there's a particular problem.
Yeah. I also think like the fact that it seems like there's no information on what the middleman is doing and like there's not really knowledge on what's going on there makes it harder to kind
Yes.
of catch everything.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree with you 110%, because what happens is the fact that you're blind and you're not aware of the internals right there really kind of puts you in the situation where you're saying there's a problem. We know there's a problem because the customer reported a problem. The
Yeah.
dealership reported a problem. We can look at our stuff and we can look at all your previous requests and we could say, doesn't look like the problem's on our end.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, that's not helpful to the customer, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll end up going to the middleman and saying, hey, there's a problem here. Doesn't look like it's us. And yeah, you're just blind. And that's a frustrating experience, because if a customer calls me up, whether it's a client of mine or it's a customer of my client or it's an employee of my client, when they come up and to say, hey, we have a technical problem, I want to solve it.
Yeah.
I want to get done out of the way. I want that person happy and I want them to be satisfied with the response they got from us. And having that middle layer there, again, warranted, needed or not, is makes that much more of a challenge. And I don't feel like that challenge needs to be there. Like I just still don't understand it. And it could just be that the technical stack of the industry was this. Everyone likes it. Everyone went there. And now everyone's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of working. So let's not change it up. But
Yeah.
but I think at this point, when you're running on technologies that are approaching, some of these technologies we're working with are older than you. Maybe it's time to consider that there's some better ways to do this, and there's better ways to do it in the sense that we can provide you better technical solutions, and we could start evolving in that direction. Again, I'm not in a green field, but if we want to take advantage of some new things, or we want to take advantage of some new patterns, or we want to try some new technologies, you can evolve in that direction. You don't have to just be like, okay, we're going to ditch everything that the industry is doing right now. We're going to shut down all of our software and we're going to build this new, castle in the sky. It usually
Yeah.
doesn't work, and it's really not a great way to go. But that is not to say that you shouldn't start moving in that direction. I mean, the fact that the majority of this is not entirely true. There's a couple of companies out there that I know of that actually have the JSON and support built in, but primarily it seems like most of the industry is exchanging in XML. And again, that works. Everything's coded up to it or not, but I kind of like the REST JSON methodology. And then some of the other things I see in the industry, I'll close with this one, is some of they'll close out their APIs. Like it seems a little strange that you would have an API and then you would be like, yeah, but I don't want you to use it.
Yeah.
That's happened a couple of times to me. It's like, wait a minute, took the time to build an API, took the
Yeah.
time to expose it, but you don't want anyone to consume it, or the only people who are allowed to consume it are 5 other people, and
Yeah.
we don't want to put 6 people on there consuming the API. It's like you build your software and you're a platform and you want to be extensible. Those extensibility points include your API, and your API allows for a much deeper integration between two products.
Yeah.
And so if I'm API and we're connecting up to your API and I'm integrating you with my accounting system, or I'm integrating you with my reporting system, whatever it needs to be. And if I can get that integration at that point, everything becomes much more seamless. And when you have an API and you're like, well, we don't want anyone to use it, that's that just seems odd.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's also like it's one of the reasons that one of our company values is being transparent is that when you're already having this language barrier with the computer and having to work with the computer in a language that you don't usually speak, right? Like when
yeah,
you aren't given all the information, that just adds more struggles to it because you can't there might be an exception that you didn't know about that now you're having to butt head against and no one can tell you why it's not working the way it should be working according to
yeah.
the knowledge that you have.
Sure. Yep, yep. That makes total sense. All right. So we got anything else we want to address today? I think we intended to keep it short, but I talked a long time. So
That's okay. I think it was all good information. So, but
okay.
yeah, if anyone else wants to ask questions, this is your last few minutes to do so. Otherwise, we can log off for the day.
Yep. I think we'll wait and see if we get anybody else. I don't think so. All
Yeah.
right, everybody. Have a great weekend. I may do another live over the weekend. I have not 100% decided on that, but I was kind of roaming it around in my head. So it will just be me thinking about maybe throwing up a screen and writing some code and showing off some patterns and that kind of thing. So if I go live this weekend, it'll be a shared screen coding session, and we'll do some. Maybe I'll bring you in on my super secret project that I'm working on and trying to figure out using computer vision, which is something that got some interested in, and I've been messing around with that lately. So,
That
all right,
sounds good.
everybody, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Enjoy your day. Bye.
Bye.